Hello, I'm Chris Hills, Technical Director of Phaedrus Systems, and I'm here with Felix Redmill, the editor of the Safety Critical Systems Club newsletter. The newsletter is now entering its 25th year. Felix, how did you come to be involved with the Safety Critical Systems Club? What are its beginnings and how did it come about?
Well, in the late 80s, the government was made aware, probably by a report commissioned by what was then the IEE, Institution of Electrical Engineers, that computers, small computers, mini computers, microcomputers were being used more and more in safety critical situations, and that the people who were using them weren't really expert in safety. And so the government, the DTI, the Department of DTI Technology and Industry,
Yes.
Sponsored a number of projects. I think they put about 30 million into this to look into research, safety in software safety, and in that large project they introduced a club, which had the goals of promoting safety, trying to raise awareness of safety, and software safety, and also to facilitate technology transfer across industry and from academia to industry. So the club was inaugurated in 1991. Newcastle University had the contract to run the club, and I was their partner for the actual legwork, for doing the coordination of the club, organising events, editing the newsletter, and so on.
So you became the first and so far only editor. Did you intend to edit the club's newsletter for a quarter of a century when you started?
I didn't give it a thought. I had no idea.
So you didn't even think it would still be here after 25 years?
Well, I didn't think it wouldn't, but I certainly never gave it a thought that it would. In those days, funding, academic funding and funding of this kind of thing went on for 3 years, and almost invariably such organizations as this folded after funding ended. We decided to continue, and we've managed to carry on for 25 years.
22 years after you expected it to carry on.
Yes.
And so you must have seen some dramatic changes since the first edition in May 1990. I mean, in those days there were PCs around, but not with the same sort of software and capabilities as you have now. So in those days, I suppose it was text only. You couldn't include diagrams and things like you can now. So you must have seen some big changes.
Yes, big changes in the way in applications for laying out text and so on, the so-called desktop applications for figures and even for photographs now, which we couldn't do at that time. At least I couldn't. But by the way, the first issue was in September 1991. September 91 was the first issue.
How did you produce that?
On a computer. I produced it, made a PDF and printed it out and posted it to Newcastle, where we have the secretariat, and that's where printing was done and distribution.
So what was the application you used to lay it out in?
I don't remember. I don't remember, but it was... I don't remember now.
So you're using currently, I think, InDesign?
I'm using InDesign now.
What were you using before that? Do you know?
It was an Adobe product, but I don't remember the title. But untypically or atypically, with another Adobe product, it isn't compatible. The modern version of InDesign is not compatible with the old one, so I can't simply produce the old ones on a computer anymore.
Do you actually have an archive of them?
No, not all of them. Not all of them. I have an archive from the last application. The first application I kept an archive on floppy disks for some time, and eventually I got rid of them. They were taking up too much space.
Okay. Talking of space, do you have a flood of contributions, or does it come in waves, or do you have a continual struggle to get people to write content for the newsletter?
All of those. Sometimes it's a struggle. The club has a number of events per year, and so we try at each event to encourage members to contribute. A number, usually no more than 3 or 4, offer at the time. About half of those default and don't contribute. So I get a trickle. Occasionally there's an increase and I get a burst of more, and occasionally it's very difficult. But overall we keep our heads above water.
Well, while we're doing a commercial for your newsletter, what do you look for in an article? What would you ask potential authors to submit? What sort of thing? How many words?
Typically, the ideal is between 1,500 and 1,800 words, maximum of 2,000. Otherwise, one article becomes too much. It's too heavy in a single issue. I try not to be too hard on potential contributors. It's a newsletter. It's not a learned journal. So I'm trying to get people, not only members of the club, but to contribute their thoughts, to raise questions, to report on experience of techniques, methods. Occasionally we get academic articles saying what they think is coming in the future, and so on. So we get a variety.
And so where do you see the newsletter going in the future? Everyone, it is said, will be using tablets and iPhones by the end of next month, if not tomorrow. So do you see an online version? Audio, video?
Well, it can be made online now in that I produce it on the computer. I make a PDF of it, which could be distributed. It's mostly distributed on paper. I don't know about tablets. I don't know about videos. It's not my line. But you can advise on whether you think that videos could go into it. But I don't know. I'm not sufficiently au fait with modern technology facilities to know where it's going to go, but I hope that it keeps going because it seems a respected newsletter these days, and people, we get good feedback on it. So I hope it keeps going.
Well, traditionally, the safety critical systems area has always been slightly conservative when it comes to new things because they want to see them tried, testing and working. Mm-hmm. An online version would be no different. You'd want to make sure that for your market it actually is going to be read. Do you have any thoughts of retiring, or are you aiming for your 30 years as editor?
You mean retiring or retiring from being editor?
Retiring from being editor.
No, I haven't given any thought to that yet, but I certainly won't go on forever. No. 25 years is a fair shot. We're entering the 25th year now. Mm-hmm. I certainly hope to see that out. After that, who knows?
Yes, so you said retiring from this. Of course, you have your book, Software Projects, Evolutionary versus Big Bang. We might coax you into doing another version of that. But apart from that, you will probably carry on editing this until something else changes.
Yes, and things are changing all the time. That's life. Yeah. So who knows?
Felix Redmill, thank you very much, and I hope you continue as editor.
It's a great pleasure. Thank you very much.